U-GeekTV.
You know, I'm really tired of people not having common sense, right? I'm tired of people just making decisions that are absolutely not in the best interest of themselves. And no, I'm not talking about this election that just happened or anything political. I'm talking about Devil May Cry on Netflix. How do you decide to do a Devil May Cry TV series and barely feature Dante in it? Fucking ridiculous. Let's get into it.
This, gentleman, is your primary objective. He's a top-level threat. Engage him with the full brunt of your firepower.
I work better with music.
Welcome back to U-Geek TV. I am your host, Jarius Unapologetic Geek, and I am back with another unapologetic review. And this time I am talking about Devil May Cry, the Netflix anime series. And it was not that great. Now, I do see a lot of people who are Devil May Cry fans who claim that this show wasn't all that bad, like they liked some of the things that they did and all that. Look, I don't know what part of Devil May Cry you're a fan of. I'm a huge fan of like Dante and Virgil and Sparta and the lore and all of that. And when I signed up for this, like I'm thinking, okay, we're getting another anime from Devil May Cry. The first Devil May Cry anime was great, but they only did, it was like a one-shot limited series thing. This one is intended to be multiple seasons. It was already renewed after it debuted or whatever. But like I was excited to, get back into that Devil May Cry world. And just from the trailer, I could tell they were going with like a version of the Devil May Cry 3 story, which honestly is my favorite Devil May Cry game. Now, I haven't played Devil May Cry 5 yet, just downloaded it not too long ago. So I'll be checking that out. But as of right now, Devil May Cry 3 is like the standard in terms of the series. At least that's the way I've always understood it. And that's the way I've always felt as well. So you can imagine my disappointment when I think I'm getting a adaptation to one of my favorite video game franchises and my favorite game in that franchises. I think I'm about to get something special. And for 2 episodes, it lived up to its subject matter and it was special. And then on top of that, it's made by the same creator for Castlevania on Netflix, which is wonderful. Like you can go check that review out as far as what I think about season 2 of Nocturne. But overall, I love the Castlevania series. Well, I'm here to tell you, they shat the bed. Absolutely shat the bed. Before we really dive into this, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you thought of Devil May Cry, the Netflix series. Am I overreacting to it? Whatever you feel. I care, but I don't care because I gotta tell the truth about this show, right? Let's go with the good. All right, get that out the way. First 2 episodes have the spirit of Devil May Cry in it. Dante is Dante from Devil May Cry 3. Like he's goofy, he's a jerk. He doesn't take himself too seriously until he has to, and then he'll whoop some ass. Like that's Dante, that's the character. First 2 episodes do a pretty good job of showing his fighting acumen. Like he does joke around while he's fighting. It kind of reminds you of Spider-Man in a way, but he's a badass. He does badass things in the first 2 episodes. That's about it. That's the best I got in terms of the good stuff. Y'all ready for the bad stuff? Let's go. And I will say this. I'm going to mention some things here, and then I'm going to elaborate on the spoiler side of things. So there will be a spoiler chapter tag or whatever in the video when I get to it. One more thing, the voice acting. The voice acting is fine. Okay, now let's move on. The worst part of this show, bar none, is Mary, aka Lady, who is one of my favorite characters from Devil May Cry 3. In Devil May Cry 3, she is this woman with this tragic past, and this in this Netflix series, she has a tragic past too. And her father has basically fucked over her so bad that like she's kind of out to stop his plans in Devil May Cry 3. But then when she's faced with him, like there's so much nuance to that story. And she's a great character, like all around. Um, in the Netflix series, I'm gonna be honest, she's a bit of an asshole. There's another word I want to use, not the B word, but the C word. And I'm not gonna go that far, but she kind of is one of those too. Like she is a fucking jerk. Really. Like for one thing, and this is gonna be rich coming from somebody who curses a lot, but it's poor dialogue to even in the era that it's set in, because they're definitely going with like an early 2000s vibe, and it's all over the soundtrack, which is also pretty cool. But the way they have her behave is so, it's not like how somebody with her skill set would behave. And like she has this kind of stick up her ass when it comes to like working for the government. They work for I believe it's called Darkcom, and they handle like killing demons and things like that. Like they have these magical bullets that help them to kill demons. So they set that up purposely for all the badass shit that lady is gonna get to do that Dante doesn't do. They hand this show over to her almost the moment she's on screen. Okay, it's time to get into a bit of a spoiler because I don't give a fuck. She In her first encounter with Dante, she takes him, no, she outwits him. She doesn't necessarily take him down, she outwits him. Like, and they showed Dante's powers and skill in those first two episodes. Like, and this happens in the last bit of episode 2 when they have their encounter. But he's super fast and he's also super strong. And somehow she is able to circumvent that in their battle. Yeah, they absolutely hand this show over to her for no good goddamn reason at all than to just, I don't know, shit on Dante because she embarrasses him, outwits him, and honestly flat out beats him several times throughout this series. And Dante just takes just is just on the sideline. There's one point in here where Dante, I swear, in 2 straight episodes is incapacitated and captured for no good reason at all. It's like they did the best they could with filling out 8 episodes, and it was ass. It was ass. The whole treatment of Dante is a huge problem for me in this series. And if you weren't sure who this show was about, it becomes apparent in the episode, I believe it's episode 8, no, not episode 8, episode 6, where the backstory of Mary is given, and you think that Dante would get the other like side of that backstory. No, they give it to White Rabbit, who is really a pretty cool villain in this series. But again, Dante is sidelined. Like you get the bare minimum when it comes to his backstory and things like that. And yeah, I played Devil May Cry, so I know about it, but the way it's treated here is like, okay, that story doesn't matter. We really want to tell the story of White Rabbit and Mary, and it's such a disservice to really both of those characters and Dante as well. um I will give them credit, they don't weaken down everybody for Mary all the time. Like she is a badass in her own right, but she shouldn't be beating Dante. Like she shouldn't, straight up. And then there's like this transition from like this standard or traditional anime 2D style to this CGI 3D style, and it's really off-putting, especially when it comes to like the action scenes. It's just really weird how they handled that. Now I'm about to get into some spoilers, seriously, because I really gotta get into like my issues, and I can't do that without spoiling it. When I say that Dante is incapacitated, normally it comes um at the hands of Mary. Mary beat this boy about 4 times in this show. About. And then when she's not outwitting him or whooping his ass, she's saving him. Everybody like, or people who are Devil May Cry fans. There are these twin monsters, Agni and Rudra. In Devil May Cry 3, a young Dante solos both of them. And now they put up a hell of a fight, but still. In here, Dante barely beats Agni. Rudra, honestly, even with Dante doing Devil Trigger, which is like Dante in his most powerful form, he still beat Dante. Like Devil Trigger really doesn't amount to much in this show. And Mary just with a single bullet kills Rudra. Easy peasy. No extra tricks. Like Rudra and Dante were fighting all over the city, and she just one shots him, and that's the end of it. Dante, by the end of this series, because for the most part, it's about like Mary not being able to feel like she can trust demons. Dante proves that he's trustworthy, lets his guard down because Mary isn't trustworthy or whatever, but he believes so. Like a dumbass, she puts him on his ass again. The show ends literally with Mary's actions causing a bigger conflict with the son of Sparta, Dante, incapacitated yet again, and they put him on ice at the end. The U.S. military decides to attack the demon world. And we end the show with Virgil finally making a true appearance in his regular like human form. And he kind of shows up as like a fusion of his Devil Trigger and a fusion of Nello Angelo, but we really get a good look at him at the end, and he's serving Mundus, which that's a whole different thing that I don't necessarily mind. But the bigger issue is like they keep making Dante look like an idiot. They keep jobbing him out at every turn, and it gets so irritating. It's what I hate about this show so much. Almost as much as I hate the war on Iraq allegory they decided to put out there, and they use like there are good demons too as the whole backdrop. And White Rabbit, by the way, Mary and her team's execution of the quote unquote good demons in the presence of White Rabbit is the reason why all of this bullshit happens. White Rabbit was a human who was raised in the demon world and saw the peaceful demons that he grew up knowing slaughtered at the hands of Mary and her crew. Mary is an asshole in this show. I'm just making that clear. She has a tragic backstory. Her father wanted to be a demon, became one, killed her mother or whatever. And I'm sure that's going to come up in season 2. But she is the issue in a lot of ways in her own life. And so she causes this conflict, doesn't learn anything from it, is essentially the same character that we started off with, freezes Dante, and she's just like, oh, I just follow all these orders. Like, this character is a bad character. Point blank, she's a bad character, man. And I don't understand not having the proper reverence for this show. If you wanted to make a Mary show or a lady show, then just make that show. Don't put Devil May Cry on it and put Dante in it. Just have him job out at every turn. Also, Dante doesn't even beat White Rabbit on his own. Mary helps him with that too. It's insane, man. It's complete and total bullshit. But it's time to render the verdict. And you probably already knew where this was going. I don't mind the first 2 episodes, which that amounts to 1/4 of the whole series. So I'm not going to completely obliterate this. But for me, it is an unapologetic disappointment. That is a 2 out of 5, man. You can completely skip this one. It's not worth your time. Just go watch videos of Devil May Cry 3 or the original Devil May Cry anime series, which is a proper anime. Skip this one completely, man. Or go watch Castlevania. So, Devil May Cry, the Netflix anime series. What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate you and your continued support. And until next time, I'm Jari, Unapologetic Geek, and I am out.
U-GeekTV.